Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're looking at the triumph of seeds, how grains, nuts, kernels, pulses, and pips conquered the plant kingdom and shaped human history by Thor Hanson. I love the way this book is written. It's a science and nature book on seeds, but the author mixes the science aspect with history, and he presents it by tying his own personal narratives into the writing to bring about or emphasize the point that he's making that has to do with whatever concept that he's explaining. This is a favorite technique for many writers, and this author is really good at it. He doesn't just use a story to introduce a subject, he does that and presents the historical information to discuss why the seeds evolved the way they did. And I think this is effective in showing the reader some of the things that make evolution such an amazing subject to read about. I felt that the way he does this is a sign of not just good writing, but it's writing that you really do enjoy and want to read. By the time I finished the first chapter of this book, I had placed an order for another one of his books, so I'm looking forward to reading that one now. And this book took me much less time to read through than the last one I read, because I was just wanting to be reading it whenever I had a spare moment. Another thing about this book, it is very easy reading. There are no difficult concepts or heavy science that you have to try to remember with this book. Okay, let's talk for a second about the organization. That's one of my favorite parts. This book comes in five main sections, and each section contains several chapters. But these 5 sections are each about one different important trait that the seeds evolved and why they're so interesting. We have seeds nourish, which is about how some seeds come pre-packed with nutrients to get the plant off to a healthy start or to feed some animal instead, like us. There's seeds unite, a section on sex, genes, and inheritance. Seeds endure, which is about why different seeds have different germination habits. This one was super interesting. Seeds defend is about some of the various compounds that seeds produce and why and how they evolved. And finally, seeds travel, the mechanisms for getting the genes of the seed away from the parent plant in order to spread and colonize more land. Every one of these sections was a page turner for me. Super interesting stuff, and I do want to point out again, his literary techniques are really on point. It's evident that him and his publishing team really wanted to make this more than just a stack of pages about seeds. It's not just a bunch of interesting information. He'll regularly employ literary devices like really effective chapter transitions that don't feel contrived, which is certainly not a given when it comes to nonfiction. And the fact that each section has a specific point has the effect of causing the reader to want to anticipate where you think he might be going with what he's talking about, and I think that's another sign of good writing. The notes section at the end is a lot more interesting than in most other books I've seen. He'll elaborate on some of the stuff he was talking about earlier in the book instead of just posting a reference, though, of course, there is a bibliography too. And he also includes a glossary, which I think every science book should have. And this book also features a really great appendix that lists all the plants mentioned in the book, as well as their scientific name and the plant family that they belong to. I especially appreciated that because I'd try to memorize some of the plant families, because when you know the plant families, it's very helpful in identifying plants, and you can make more accurate assumptions about them just by knowing how closely related they are to other plants. Okay, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Plants are so incredibly important to the lives of everyone, and I think it's always a good idea to be learning more about them. And this is the most enjoyable book I've read in a while. I know I haven't been posting many videos lately, but I have been going through a ton of books, and most of them are related to plants in some ways. So if you love plants like I do, check out The Triumph of Seeds by Thor Hanson.